Hi everyone, welcome to our second K-6 / P-6, depending on what part of the world you live in, user group for 2022. Thanks everyone for coming along. And yeah, we appreciate your involvement in these user groups because it's exactly that. So if you're able to, if you don't have a bung ankle that needs to heal, feel free to turn your video on. We like to make it like a user group, like we're there in person. So feel free to put your video on. And because it is a user group, this is it's not like a webinar where it tends to be more one way. We want people to get involved in things as well. Let me just share my screen. Oh, I am already, sorry. So this is the agenda for today. I want to talk a little bit about Canvas merch. So for people who actually participate in the meeting today, yeah, you'll be in the running. We've got 2 Canvas merch packs that we would like to send out to people who get involved. And so feel free to unmute as we discuss things, and yeah, turn your videos on and get involved, because it is a user group. It's definitely not a one-way thing. Before we dive into things, I wanted to just share with you, I'll jump out of presentation mode actually and open this link up. I already had it open, but there's an idea in the community. Rio, if you wouldn't mind chucking that in the chat. There's an idea in the community in relation to the Canvas parent app, and I know a really big thing in our region in particular is we'd like to get more feedback in the Canvas parent app. So I know the product team in particular have met with some people in the region to have a chat about that. And I think it's one thing that's holding people back from using the parent app is just not being able to see the feedback on the assessments in the app. So I've been a big proponent of that for many years now. And yeah, we've got the mobile product team that are seriously looking at that at the moment. So if you could jump on to that link, and if you think that that's important to you and your school, and you think it would be important for other schools, feel free to vote on that and leave comments and feedback in particular, because the product team is actually looking at this thread on the community. So a lot of what informs the direction that the product team takes is based on a lot of the feedback that they get. And so this is an opportunity to provide that really direct feedback on use cases as to why that's important. So feel free to jump onto that. I see Joanne's made a comment there. Parents want full access to the student Canvas app. They didn't get in the parent app. Okay, you're about to use Canvas Student for Parents. Okay. So one thing to keep in mind, if you do have a mixed environment, there can be a couple of issues when an observer logs into the student app. You can actually use it at the moment, but if you got some people where some parents have people using the Canvas for elementary and some other students they're observing who don't, there can be issues with that because the student app wasn't made for parents. So that it's not likely something that is going to impact that. But there is a feature, FYI, that you can turn on for the Canvas parent app so that they can get access to the homepage of the course, which then if you're linking off to other parts of the course from your homepage, they can essentially get access through the app anyway to the rest of the content in the course. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay, so yeah, they do like to see the teachers' comments. Yep. Yeah, that's exactly why we pointed to that idea, because we want that feedback to the product team so that they can know how important that is to our schools. And that literally is one of the only reasons why some schools haven't started using the Canvas parent app before. All right, so we just want to give you a brief update into a couple of things that have happened on the instructor side as well. You may or may not be aware, but we acquired the company, well, Instructure, not Rio and I. The company acquired the company Concentric Sky, which makes Badgr. And so you may be familiar with the Badgr products already. They're quite fantastic. So we're actually pretty excited about that, but it's pretty early days, only happened recently. So we just wanted to make you aware of that and to let you know that Badgr, the free Badgr product, is being renamed to Canvas Badges. And there are plans afoot to see how we can make that even more integrated into Canvas. We're not excluding any other credentialing apps like Credly or what are some other ones, Rio? I can't think at the moment. But anyway, any other
Credible, ones? Yep. Yeah, Credible. Yeah.
So if you're using those apps, you can still keep using those as normal. So it just will happen to be that, you know, Canvas Badges will be the official Canvas product for badges in the future, which is pretty cool. If anyone has a subscription to Badgr Pro, then this product will continue to function as is, but is being rebranded as Canvas Credentials. So that is a separate paid product to the free product. But for anyone who may have gotten a quote on Badgr Pro in the past, yeah, the pricing has changed. And from what we can see, it's much friendlier compared to the feedback we've had from other schools as to pricing they'd previously got for Badgr Pro. So yeah, if you are interested, then feel free to reach out, and we'd be happy to get the sales team involved in that conversation if you'd like to. And last of all, Icon Maker. Has anyone started using the Icon Maker in Canvas yet?
Yes.
Jay, tell us more.
I find the number of images that I can use within the icons are pretty less. I wish I had more images.
Yep. Yeah, it is a little bit limited. I've actually got a page open just to show you this. If I go into edit this page, so this is the course that I use. If anyone watched my outcomes webinar, this is the course I use for that. But this is exactly what Jay is talking about. So if you go into the Icon Maker, just click on the icon there in the rich content editor. And the images currently, this is the whole set of images that you can do. Now, this is going to be added to over time, but you'll also have the option in the future of adding your own images. So this is just, you know, the minimum product that's been released into Canvas. But there will be more features added over time. So what sort of things are you using it for, Jay?
Right now, one of the ideas I thought I would use it is like to put a signature that this course is created by this person with their name and their logo or branding. Because we work with a lot of schools, schools can also have their own design and colors in a particular badge, just to show that this course is being run by this particular school.
Okay, so you're really looking forward to having your own image in there.
Yes,
as well.
absolutely.
Yep.
And I'm also looking forward to see what are the options in which I can share the icons that I've created to my colleagues and even other people, so that they don't have to recreate the same icons.
Yep, for sure. Okay, I wish we had Ruth here. She could maybe talk to
Yeah, so you can share the files. So if you wanted to, you can use direct share to kind of share some of those icons and things like that. So that is an option, but yeah,
Right.
I think it only shares within that course to your particular, I think, yeah, just to that course. So it's, yeah, there could be some more
like a file share. So if just
yeah, that's right.
the same way I can share an image.
Yeah, you can do that through the files page, and then there's the option to share. So if you click on, Paul's showing it now.
Yep.
So send to, you can send it to a particular teacher.
Right. And will it still retain the functionality of being an image and being able to edit the icon, or it will be sent as an image?
Just as an image.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Could you also just store them within like a web page and then kind of share that web page around, and then the icons would automatically be part of like a template web page?
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that, but that sounds like a really good idea.
Yeah, you could do that. You'll just need to remember to, I guess, adjust any of the URLs if they're linking back into the same course.
Okay.
They're obviously not going to be working for those teachers and students when they click on it.
Okay, so you're better off sharing the files. Okay.
Yeah. Although if it has been shared, we'd need to test that actually. If it's been shared to another course, that should still.
What if it was added within a
and it was course
module?
copied.
Like what if it was added within a module and then they imported that module across? Does it? Because that's an issue we had years ago when we tried to kind of have like little buttons and that, and then they were hard coded within the course URL. So these are basically would be the same.
Yeah, theoretically, if you're using the Canvas functionality, if you're using the Canvas functionality to share, then it should be a relative link rather than an absolute link. So what you're talking about, Joanne, there was an absolute link where you've actually copied the URL or something like that, and that will definitely break. But if you, if you're sharing it using the Canvas tools, it should go across. But we'd have to double check that and test that out.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just like when you go into the rich content editor and you share a link or a module, or when you add a link or a module using the links menu in the rich content editor, that doesn't break when you copy a course and share a course and stuff like that, because they're relative links. But yeah, as Rio said, the icon maker is available to turn on in feature options if you can't see it. And Jeremy, sorry,
Paul. I also got one more feedback.
Yeah.
I was wondering if we can add the yellow color in the color palette. So that's one color which is missing in the color list of for icons.
Interesting. Yeah, that perhaps maybe in a future iteration as well. So if we go to color, there's no yellow in there.
And I thought it could be an accessibility issue, but I'm not sure.
Well, if you have white on yellow, definitely an accessibility issue. But black on yellow, I'm not an accessibility expert, but I imagine that would be okay. Interesting that's currently missing. But as we said, this is like the first iteration, so it will evolve over time. But that's definitely good feedback that we can pass back. There was something else someone else said. Jeremy asked about Badgr. Badgr is already free. It's just whether it's early days. We don't really have any details yet of how it'll be more tightly integrated with Canvas now that it's part of the Instructure family. So Ruth is actually going to. So for those who remember from our last user group, Ruth Thornton, who's our APAC product manager, she will be coming to our next user group to actually chat about some of that, and also a little bit more detail on the ePortfolios. So she did mention last time about the ePortfolios. We're actually getting very close to doing our initial release of the official Canvas ePortfolio product. And that we will have a lot more detail to share when we get around to our next user group. So just keep an eye on that. I did have that on the agenda there. Yeah, ePortfolios. Before we move on, did anyone else have any other questions about any of those things at all?
Yes. So can you hear me, Paul?
Yeah. Hi, Jeremy.
Yeah. So, hi. Sorry, I'm actually more on the 10 to 12 side, but the Badgr thing was really interesting because we're using that, or I am currently, and investigating how it can motivate students to earn badges at the end of a module. But we're also looking at how we could apply that to sort of digital citizenship courses that students do externally, and then therefore get credentialed for it. But I understand that with Badgr, if you want credentialing to happen for a majority of your students and you have a huge amount of students, you need to go with the Badgr sort of pro side of things and pay for it. So I wasn't clear. Are you saying with the Canvas credentials, you'll be looking at a different fee structure? Is that correct?
Yeah, compared to if you've been quoted for Badgr Pro previously, the fee structure is now quite different.
Okay.
So it may be a lot more palatable if you bulked at the pricing previously for Badgr Pro.
Like about 2% of the original cost or something really good like that.
I cannot comment because I didn't see any of the. We were just going off information that products that customers were telling us for quotes that they had, and we were a little bit taken aback, shall we say? So I can't comment specifically on that. But yeah, if you are interested, then we can definitely loop in the sales team.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, Paul Harmon, you're a huge Canva user. We've got this on. I know there's probably some other people. Kylie, is that Kylie Tag? Kylie, is that you, Kylie, or is it another Kylie? But we know you've used Canva in Canvas. Do you want to share a little bit about how you've used that and what it's like?
Yeah, sure, happy to. I suppose most of us have heard of Canva. I know there's been a huge marketing push from them for the last little while, and from my understanding, widely used in industry with social media and all sorts of, I was going to say lower end design things, but it really isn't. It's quite sophisticated what you can do with it. We had used it quite a bit for building a lot of the icon structure of our courses and banners and all that sort of thing. And then I guess it was last year, I think they opened it up. They turned their pro version absolutely free for education. Because one of the limitations of using the free one was, of course, you'd go to use a built-in image or an icon or something like that, and you had to pay for it. So there was a cost to the whole thing. So they brought in absolutely everything free for education. So you've got the full range of images, you've got elements, just about everything you can possibly consider, and it's all in there to drop into your designs. I might see if I can share screens, Paul. Can I?
Yep, go for it.
Yep, should be able to.
So we last year I signed up with them. The guys were really helpful and getting it into play. So it's now an LTI, which embeds into your Canvas instance. They send out a lot of like seriously cool resources that show you everything. I'm gonna try and drop a PDF into the chat if I can. Oh, I've got too many windows open. I'll drop PDF into the chat eventually. That's got links to this. Oops, sorry. How to use it within your course. We use Azure single sign-on here as well. So when the kids are in their Canvas course and they go to Canva, they're automatically logged in, which is just great. And it creates their account in there. The really nice thing about it is that you can, when you create a task, you can go into Canva and build a template. And you can embed that template into your task there, and the kids can download their own copy of it. So in terms of the junior school, that's just great. I mean, you know, you watch the little kids pop out these info reports and all this sort of thing, and you're kind of going, yeah, that's really nice. But this way you can build a base design up from, let them go and change the content. And they really focus on the design and the content they're putting in rather than mucking around with all the shapes and colors and things that they try and design themselves. So when you go into it, I'll just see if I can get this working live for you. It will open you up into Canva. And when you set it up inside your Canvas task, you set it up as, you get a couple of options when you first embed the template in there. One, you find the template and the kids can either view it or they can download their own copy of it to adjust. So obviously if I wanted them to use this and do their own task in it, I had chose that second option. So they can go in here and change up all the text and put all their own information in. And you can see up on the top right here, publish to Canvas. Awesome.
That's
so click
awesome.
on that. Yeah, it just publishes it straight back to the task. choose Canva Education. Oh yeah, I'm mucking around with it at the moment, but yeah, you get that ability then just publish straight back to the task. The other beauty of it as well is we all probably aware with SpeedGrader and the types of files that SpeedGrader will actually show and view. It'll show in a Canva image as well. So when you're in SpeedGrader, the student work samples popping up there. So super nice, and you can see on the left-hand side here, I've got access to all the elements, huge range of photos that are all, oh, it's Monday afternoon. You know, what's the word I'm thinking of? Help me out here. Free to use.
Free, yeah, yeah.
Seriously.
Copyright free.
Thank you. I'm going on holidays right now.
Yeah.
So, and there's just, look, I haven't exhausted it yet. I just built a work health and safety course for our staff and all that. And every image that I wanted, I pulled out of here. So it was really, really good. Plus you can upload your own. You've got all the styles in the background. So great for designing your course content as well. So whenever I'm building courses now, I'm building banners in here and just embedding them straight in.
Can you show us what that looks like when you do
in
that?
one of my courses? Yeah.
Yeah, or have you got like a sandbox course where you can just create a page or something?
Oh, gee, now you're asking.
On the spot.
Loading. Canvas is slow. Who do I talk to about that? Oh, sorry.
What's wrong with your internet?
Nothing. Better not be the 10 gig line. So you can see here are banners that I just created quickly, you know, and dropped in. There's nothing flash. Don't please comment on the really bad color choices by me there. But again, you can see when you turn, sorry, I just clicked out of that. When you turn the LTI on, it comes up in your course menu. So click on that. That takes me straight into my Canva Education account. And you can see they've got a whole lot of education templates and things that you can use. So the really nice banner sizes there. If you use Google Classroom, you can do that as well. I found the banner that I was using the other day. But anyway, you can see there's a whole lot of the content that I've built here that I'm dropping into our courses. So, you know, you get all the banner sizes and things like that. And unfortunately, the icon maker is great. I love that, but we built all our icons in Canva. But I might look at that for some of our the way we structure our courses. That I don't know if I've got a page in here. We put a header across the top of each area, and we've got a set of standard icons that we use from year 3 right through to 12. So the students are used to seeing that type of icon for a quiz or that type of icon for a writing task. So yeah, really handy for that.
Yeah, I think that's probably what we were talking about earlier as far as sharing amongst courses. I know Joanne was talking about. I think that's really handy from a pedagogical standpoint, having that consistency with icons across courses so the students know what to expect when they see that icon.
So I'm just trying to pull up a template page so I can show you.
Yeah. So if you...
Could I, sorry.
Oh, go, Joanne.
Could I just, we aren't as fortunate to be able to do Azure sign-in. We are restricted with our, who looks after our Azure. So we went with a slightly new implementation that Canva were offering, where our students could click on the link, and if they hadn't previously signed on, it would just pass them through. And as long as they accessed Canva for Education via Canvas, they would never need a password to sign in. If the student actually then created a password, it would then prompt them to log in, which we're kind of living with. It was our only way of being able to implement Canva because we can't seem to get the Azure implementation working. Our third-party provider just drags their heels. So as a result of that, we've implemented this, which it seems to work-ish okay. What I'm asking is, if you have a Canva assignment, the student submits it as like a URL link. So within SpeedyGrader, you can kind of make a comment, but you can't use the editing tools that you have within SpeedyGrader with DocuView with a Canva assignment. Is there any development going to be happening within that space to be able to submit a Canva assignment, or are you just assuming that if you submit a Canva assignment, when the teacher clicks on it, that they'll automatically go into the actual Canva itself and they'll make the changes for the student, but not that it'll be noted. I'm just curious how that works.
In my understanding, Paul, is that when they submit it, it submits the image.
It does,
right?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it comes in as a JPEG into SpeedGrader. To be honest with you, I haven't tried.
Well, when I've
And
tested it, I've done some videos because it basically submitted it as like a URL. And I don't know whether that was me being like a login or like I have to go back and have a look at my videos. We haven't quite announced it yet to our whole populace of students. Everybody's slowly discovered it. So they don't kind of know that they can kind of submit as assignment. But whenever I've done the assignment testing, it's basically submitted it as a student as like a URL link. And then I go into Speedy Grader and then there's a URL link and it's like it logs me into Canva. So I may not have done proper testing as like a proper student type thing. So I can go back and retest that. But to me, it was like when I went in as a teacher, it was like a URL link and then I couldn't comment, like highlight or do anything like that. It basically took me into Canva.
okay, yeah, that's interesting. I just found it in the notes. I was looking at this earlier today.
It says you go to the URL link.
Yeah, if you don't have enhanced assignments turned on, when you're creating the task, you set it as a file upload. But the next page says if you are using assignment enhancement or assigned enhancements, which I am now after I've discovered it. Thank you very much, Paul and Ria. I've turned it on. It's awesome. When you create the task, you check web URL plus on upload, online upload.
So what happens with that then is when you go to market as a teacher, I think you get the URL link basically, like they see it embedded, but you can't comment or anything on it. You just basically can only make comments like in the little comment box at the side.
Yeah.
You don't have that full document viewer type feature. So.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I haven't tried, to be honest. Yeah. We use iPads in the junior school, and the actual annotation inside SpeedGrader doesn't work terribly well. Sorry.
Well, you could
when you're using digital pens.
You could use Canvas Teacher app for that. With it works well. Some of our teachers use the Canvas Teacher app and then use a stylus, and that works.
Yeah, I've suggested that to our staff, and pros and cons. To it. Just to take you back to that, what I was talking about, we standardize all our courses with an objective or a learning intention, and then a content button here, and it's here that we were embedding our icons that I mentioned before, which would be really easy and nice to develop an icon maker. Got a bit of a guru here who developed a couple of rich content editor buttons to help us embed these, which was super nice. Yeah, we've got our line and things.
Yeah. As far as the LTI is concerned, if you're editing the page there, can you just launch into Canva directly from there? So if you go to the LTI launcher, no, not from there, so from the actual menu in the RCE, see with the little plug icon.
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry. Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
it takes you in. What I was saying before about creating a template, you were going to make that first. So you can see there's the task template I made earlier. So I can pick it up, and you see here, you can either link it, embed it into the page. That's what I like to do. And that's what I was saying before about a view design only or a new design for each student. So you select that. So if I wanted to just put it in to the page, then you can see it in there. It's anything I created myself. So yeah, super nice that way. And also in the elementary interface as well, when you're in the submitting a task, you've got the option there along the buttons across the bottom with the enhanced assignment to choose Canva as your submission tool to go in the other way. If you want to, so you're inside the task and then you go in and select Canva for Education, will take you into your space inside Canva, and you select your whatever you've created in there and submit it that way. So either from Canva or from Canvas going back the other way. Does that make sense? That was terribly fair, wasn't it?
No, that's great.
Yeah, really excited about it. It's super nice.
I've just dropped into the chat some, I guess, sample sizes or for creating banners and things like that, which might be really useful for if you do use Canva, because you can actually create the size and specify the pixels and stuff like that. So yeah, feel free to kind of just download that and use it.
Thanks. I just dropped in a PDF as well, which is my, sorry, really don't look at the creation of this with that link there is the Canva link, and talks about the LTI and that sort of thing. So all the links off that, have a look. And I think you might even be able to sign in from this as well. But anyway, that's in there for you to have a look at.
Fantastic. I've just nabbed both of those documents. So we'll make sure we include those in the resources on the page when we upload the recording, so that people can access that as well, because that's really handy. Thanks for that.
Ria, that's awesome.
Yeah. That's
Nice.
great. Has anyone else used Canva for education and the LTI? Is that? Oh, I thought you were putting your hand up, Wendy, but that's clapping. Yes, okay.
No, I'm just giving Paul a clap. Thank you,
Yeah.
Paul.
Oh, thanks,
That's
Wendy.
great. Thank you.
Am I still sharing screens? Hang on, I'm really good with Zoom.
That's
Stop
all right.
Share.
I'll
there
stop
we go.
you.
Finish it.
Yeah.
Thank you. We use Teams. Yeah.
All right, so this is where we want everyone to get involved, and yeah, feel free to turn your video on if you can, and to unmute if you have the capacity to. We're really interested, to learn how you're actually sharing between courses in your school. So how do teachers or admins or anyone, all the above, share resources and content from one course to another?
I'm happy to go first if you like.
Yeah, go.
So I put my video on, but I'm at home dressed in a singlet because it's hot in Darwin.
Yeah.
So anyway, hold on, there you go. Don't mind seeing me. Basically, years ago, before sharing was enabled, like sharing within courses, we implemented a feature where at the school level, like we've got different series of account levels, we created a course observer at the top level, and every new teacher we add into that. And basically it gives them read access to everyone's courses. So they have the ability to search, have a good look and see what they like, and then they can import straight into their own course if they wish to. They have full access across all of the course content as a resource. So course observer. I've got a PDF somewhere I wrote years ago. If anybody's interested, I'll try and find it, but that was from quite a few years ago. But we found that very, very useful instead of using Commons and stuff like that, because back in 2016, there was not that shareability. So it gives us that full readability across all the everybody's courses. They can have a good old look and see all the way back, and then just do a straight import into their course. So yep.
Yeah, we've heard of a few schools doing something similar. Sorry, go ahead, Wendy.
I was just going to ask, does that mean they have an admin button to actually search for those courses?
Yes, they do. So we basically have, at the root accounts, we've got like a schools account. We've actually got five separate schools under schools. And then we have a separate PD area. So we've implemented this course observer level at the schools account, and then we've still got like a professional development, so teachers can still be students. And it was super easy also because we originally had all the 5 schools at the root, and by using, your sys import feature, we're able to quickly move it down a structure level, so that we basically got schools and the course observer level at that. So it's a view and read. I can see if I can find the PDF I did a few years ago. That allows when every new teacher basically gets a SAMPIT course and gets added as course observer. So they have full readability across all of our 5 schools. So it's worked quite effectively with them having full access to that. It's kind of just a given, and it's enabled the sharing across the schools as well without having to upload to Commons. It's good that you've now got that share or send to feature, but this just allows them to, we get a high turnover of staff being in Darwin sometimes. So it gives them the ability to go and see what other teachers have done in other courses and have a good look and easily pull that content. Whereas before, you know, before Canvas, they'd kind of take it with them. Now it stays in-house. So that's given us the power to use that as well. We also have a series of master courses that we've developed with content that they can pull from as well, you know, learning content. So when they do come to us, it's not just, you know, straight blank canvas. They have pre-teaching stuff that they've got available they can use and adapt for themselves. So yeah, I'll see if I can find that PDF. It was a while ago.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of advantages to that, particularly if one teacher needs to cover for another teacher as well. We find that some schools use it for that purpose, and that way, you know, they don't have full edit rights necessarily to the other teacher's class, but they can quickly jump in and, you know, they've got access to the content and stuff.
We have done that. We have done that down at our for our relief teachers at a school level. We've used that course observer as well, just at so under schools, we've got each separate school as another sub account. And if there's a relief teacher that's regular at that school, then they get course observer. So they can then just see that individual school's content without, you know, having to actually add them individually into that one particular course.
And I suppose you could apply that even down to, so if you've got a sub account structure.
Yes, we have. Yeah, we have school, faculty. Yes, we've basically got it set at schools level, then each of the different schools, and then like faculty, like, you know, health and PE, languages, whatever. And so we can do it right down to that faculty level if we wanted to limit it to that as well. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, that's great. What about other ways of sharing content? Is there anyone actually using Commons?
I could talk about what my school does. I'm the art teacher, junior school specialist. And what we found with the long lockdowns and the switch to online learning, that our parents were quite overwhelmed with finding the feedback. And so this year they simplified it, and we no longer have our own courses. This year, all specialists are in the one course, and each subject is its own module. So when parents go to get feedback, they just go to either the classroom teacher course or the specialists course. And in the specialist course, there's like 6 of us all giving the same, well, our feedback goes in the same place because we're all a separate module, which actually works really well, because then for looking at what other teachers can do, we're all teachers in the same course, and it's super easy. There's no more sharing or sending to, because we're all in together in the same bucket. It does mean that whenever anyone else releases their feedback, I get emails about it, but I just delete those straight away, so it's all good. We also have the admin button, so I have the ability to go and spy on any course from any year level of the school in any of the past 3 years. I think I just need to search for what I think it might be called. So yeah, that's how I can spy on what other people are doing. But I really like the way they're doing it this year with us all in the one course. At first, I thought it was going to be a nightmare, but actually it's really, really good.
I could see that even working with Canvas for Elementary, because you've got those 2 courses, but it comes through on the homepage as well. So
yeah,
ironically, you don't have to have it separate. Yeah.
No, we did it for parents. Kids were fine with it, but parents looking for results and parents were the problem. So they simplified it for the parents, but we've had some really good side effects from that. So yeah, it's working well.
Is that fostering a lot more collaboration with the teachers as well?
Yeah, it does mean that we as specialists are a little bit more aware of what other people are doing. But we're a tight-knit team anyway. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Anything else anyone else wants to share on that topic before we head to the next one?
I'll just add one thing, Paul. The only thing that I'm using Commons for is that we use a marked survey to do a learner agency approach to learning quiz for our kids. And the only way, or a quick way of being able to get that around a whole lot of courses is to put it up in Commons. And then I just import it into each course. It's the only time we use it. Apart from that, we use just go and copy course content.
Is everyone aware of Commons favorites? I've got a nod from Paul. Anyone else? Yes, no, maybe not. So if you're not aware, you can actually share items to Commons, you know, individual, say like images, like icon images that we were talking about earlier, individual items, and save them as a favorite. And you can add them in the rich content editor as one of those favorites really quickly. So if there's stuff that you're reusing, like an icon's actually a really good example of that, and you're using it again and again, you can just upload it into Commons and save it as a favorite in Commons. And then from the rich content editor, you can add in really fast as a favorite. So just another little tip.
Thanks, Paul. I did not know that.
Okay.
Great.
Like Commons all these years. I know. This is why we have these meetings. There's all these little things that come up every once in a while. All right. Anyone else before we dive into the next topic? Mindful we don't have heaps of time. I know that a bunch of you, well, I'll share my screen again. A bunch of you are starting to, or already in the process of doing real-time reporting at your schools. I'd love to hear what that actually means at your school and how you go about it using Canvas. I know you want to jump in, Paul, do it.
I feel like I'm not going to come to another meeting because I feel like I'm just saying too much. I'm sorry. Yes, we do. Real-time reporting, also known as continuous reporting, also known as progressive reporting. I think where a lot of us had come across it was from one of CanvasCon's. Actually, I remember about 3 years ago, one school had done it and that room was absolutely flooded with people. And then the next year there was about 10 schools all presenting it. But we have a little term that I like to use here. They say barkerize, but I say buggerize. But we've changed it to progressive reporting because we have to have our own name. But look, essentially what it is in terms of the teaching is that we create a school report at the end of semester one and at the end of the year. And that report is written to the parents. And if there's an issue, particularly with the end of the year, what can you do about it? You're that too late. So the continuous reporting is a model where you are reporting at regular times throughout the semester. And we call them snapshots of learning at that time. And the feedback is going to the student and the parents are on board with that. They get alerted and they go in and see the feedback. They see a rubric and they see the task and the student submission. We use 3 per semester, 3 checkpoints that we call them. They're not big things. They're not a huge summative task. It's more based on formative assessment. And it can just be a snapshot in time. So it could be an upload out of a book, whether using writing in a book or it could be a digital task or anything like that. So that's kind of what the progressive reporting is. And we're this year, we tried with year 4 last year, and now we are doing progressive reporting from K-6. We're pre-K to 12. We're in our 2nd year of progressive reporting in our middle school, and we're just about to start it in our high school as well. So the focus goes off that report at the end of the year. So all of our feedback is based around outcomes throughout those checkpoints over the semester. And then we do some clever stuff with APIs at the back end of that. So we are using specific outcomes, and I'll talk more about those in a sec, within each course. And the API looks for those outcomes and does a calculation and gives an average, and that automatically populates our student management system. So the actual transcript of the report at the end of semester is produced automatically. So instead of the school shutting down for 4 to 6 weeks at a reporting period where everybody's desperately trying to write comment after comment after comment, getting it checked by this person, then checked by another person, and everybody panicking and stressing out, and me dying because I hated it and it was awful for what I had to do. We now do these regular checkpoints, which are just part of our normal assessment over a course, automates the process. It goes into the transcript at the end of the semester. The teachers have got the ability to get into the student management system and fudge any marks. So they've got a whole lot of other evidence about the child as well as these checkpoints. And the checkpoints may give, a C, for example, but they've got that ability to go in and change it to whatever based on other evidence that they've got. So that's automatically created in the student management system. The student management system uploads it to our portal, hands-off sort of process. So it's taken that pain out of the reporting process itself, but that ability for us to be able to regularly report on the student's learning, and it's all directed to the student, to the learner, which to me is really quite logical. So instead of writing these box comments to the parent, we're giving feedback to the kid. And as we all know, the beauty of SpeedGrader is to be able to have that ongoing conversation with the child, that you can put a comment up and they can reply to it. And the parents are seeing this beautiful, rich discussion that goes on around the child's learning at the time. So there's so many positives for us, which are super good. The outcomes that we use, just to give you an example, they're not specific NESA outcomes, but we write, here we go, so progressive reporting. So example, under English, we use reading, speaking, listening, and writing. So underneath each of those headers, there's probably 3 or 4 NESA outcomes. So we'll assess the kid on reading, for example, the student. We base it on this criteria. We remove all the points. So we don't use marks at all in our junior school. It's all based on these sort of comments. The transcript will produce a grade from limited through to extensive, and that's all calculated from these outcomes that we put in. So you can see the points are still here in the back end of Canva. So the API does a call, and let's say there's been 3 tasks, they've got 3, I can usually do successfully by myself. They get the average, and then that's how it populates the transcript. So there's some smarts going on in the back end of it, but seems to be really effective. So we're just at that point now where everybody's madly trying to finish off their transcripts for this, and then next week we push the button on the script, and of course it's all going to go perfectly well, and it'll come out of Canvas really well, but it's our student management system, which is a bit of a blockage on their reporting, but we'll work that out.
The team that's made that is pulling from the API. Are they aware that we're introducing a straight average calculation?
Yeah, we talked about that. We haven't done anything with it yet, but yeah, we'll certainly take that into account, which is really good.
So for people who aren't writing APIs as well, you can actually download a report at the account level. If you've created those outcomes at the account level, which is the type of thing that Paul's talking about, you can run an outcome results report, and that will pull all the results for every student that has outcomes reported against them on all of their assessments across all the accounts, if you do it right at the top. Or if you do it further down in the sub-account structure, you can filter by just that sub-account. So it can be pretty cool. So you can pull that data straight out in any case from Canvas and do your own calculations. Just grab the CSV and do it in Excel, even as a teacher, if you wanted to. If teachers are still involved in putting it manually into your student information system, it can be really handy for them just to be able to give that information, because you can pull that data from the course level as well. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm really interested, Paul. You've said you've got 3 specific tasks. Is there a reason why they're not attached to just any task, or is it just so that there's consistency? It's people know what to expect and what to look for?
Oh no, so by specific, I mean that we do 3 checkpoints over the semester, and it can be anything. Yeah, so any summative assessment, formative assessment, bookwork, the presentation, or anything. I did one today with my STEAM class. They had to redesign a robot in it and then take a photograph of it and do a reflection on their design and why they did it. And so the upload was a photo with a description, and that was the checkpoint.
Paul, can I ask? So at my school, we have to do 2 per term, but I'm the art teacher, and sometimes we have, say, 4 artworks per term. And I've decided that I like that parents can see. I'm hoping one day there'll be an ePortfolio and I can summarize everything in a portfolio. But I'm getting children to submit every task just because, for me personally, it's so much easier for me to assess through SpeedGrader. So even if, so the requirement is for 2 per term, but I'll have up to 4 assignments if that's what we're doing in class, just because I find it easier to assess that way. So are your staff limited to just those particular 3, or can they have more if they want?
No, absolutely not. So the 3 that we use have to have those outcomes in them, because that's what we use for reporting. But they can do as much assessment as they want to in Canvas. And again, yeah, for all those things that you said, just the benefit of using SpeedGrader. And I've even said to them, if you want to add those progressive reporting outcomes, you can, because there's just more data that we're using. But officially in our instructions for progressive reporting, there must be at least 3 checkpoints. And then we also do those learner agencies that I mentioned, which was the effort grade, where the students self-assess in a reflection, and then we'll respond to that. So yeah, absolutely. And again, as I mentioned, all those extra assignments and anything else they do, NAPLAN and all the essential assessment and all those other sorts of assessment of the students that we're doing throughout the semester, that's part of that extra evidence that they have that allows them to adjust that final mark that goes in. So yeah, absolutely, we do, for sure.
Cool.
That's fantastic. So as far as, well, is there anyone else that's doing anything similar or has progressive / continuous / real-time reporting at their school?
Try and convince your schools to do it.
I'll just say that we do at my school, and we've been asked to do 2 per term. They don't have to be released at a specific time for our junior school, although I do think our senior school have sort of published dates or release dates, but for junior school we can publish or release as we want. We're just expected to have 2, and we've got the same end of semester summative report. For senior school, I think it is completely automated. There's lots of grades and it's all done statistically by the software. But for junior school, we are just reporting on at standard, above standard, or below standard. So they just get manually inputted for that. So our
I think we've lost you. We just lost you for a second there.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Well, our assessment is complete or incomplete, and the rubric gives the information. So, so there's no summativeness data-wise that Canvas can do for our end of semester report that way. That's just for junior school, though.
Yep.
I think just quick word. I guess the progressive reporting and stuff like that we're talking about is kind of in line with what we kind of highlighted earlier, just in terms of assignments and was it feedback?
Feedback in the parent app. Yep.
Yeah, in the parent app. It kind of ties in with that. So, if you haven't rolled that out, now's a real good opportunity to kind of shape how that looks at your school by kind of providing that feedback. So, if you haven't actually done it, but you're wanting to do it, comment in that thread so that you can kind of have an influence on what it looks like in the future.
might just repost that because there might have been a couple of people who came after, because we did that right at the beginning. So if you can just pop that in again, that'd be great. Thanks, Rio. And the other link. That link there, Sacred Heart College, actually, I think Rio made a comment in the comments there in the chat. So I think that was the original presentation that Paul was referring to about continuous reporting. So Mark Pleasance from Sacred Heart College in Geelong. This is what they were doing a few years ago, and he gave a presentation on it at CanvasCon. So I know that schools that have moved in that direction, teachers have absolutely loved not having that end of semester stress, which is familiar to all schools, trying to get all the reporting done, because essentially it's all done. All the commenting and stuff is done leading up to that. So it's just an automated process to give a mark or a grade, which is required, by the state or, the jurisdiction in which you live.
That's just to sorry to interrupt, Paul will throw in there, like our transcript at the moment is quite extensive, but as parents get used to it and they get used to going into Canvas to see the results, we'll cut it right back and just have the minimum grade in there as required by NESA. I'd prefer to drop the comments out of it as well. I mean, I can't see the point when you're commenting all the time and have all the kids going, it's just doubling up for the teachers. So
100%. The other feedback that we've had is parent-teacher interviews are a breeze by comparison. So you've just got it all right there, and they've already seen it anyway. We've had, I remember speaking to someone at a particular school, and they were saying they hardly had any bookings from parents for their parent-teacher interviews because they all knew where the child was at anyway. There was no surprises. So yeah, it's just a much nicer experience all around. Now,
I've got a template there if anyone's interested in having a look at it. I'm happy to share screens and show you quickly.
Yeah, go for it.
Only because I want to show the photo off that I used. How many people? Thank you. Do you know what? I put this up to all our parents and I forgot that I had that image. My principal sort of looked at me sideways. Oops, sorry. Just an information page. That's the learner agency. There's our grades. As we go down, there's teachers go into the system, put the comment in here. And then this is the stuff that's automatically populated. So you can see the tick boxes here. So it's just the template of how it would all sit. We spent a lot of time educating our parents on, the zone of proximal development. So if your child's in year 3 and achieving at that year 3 level, they would be getting this in the middle here. I can usually do this successfully by myself. If they're achieving above that, they'd come up into this one, and if they're really like 1 to 2 years above where you'd expect to see them, they'd be getting here. So we really had to get people out of that A to E mindset that we all grew up with, and that's been lots of fun. So you can see here there's a subject description goes in for each of the subjects in our specialists, and then they have similar ticks there. So again, this is all automated, which is so nice.
Awesome. And on that note, we've just hit time. Thanks so much. No, we appreciate, I think everyone enjoys when you share, Paul, so don't ever feel sorry for sharing. Phil, just ask a question there. Feel free to unmute.
Yeah. And I was just asking Paul, out of interest, what age do you start doing those letter agency stuff? Like how young do you go?
Kindergarten.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, K through. Yeah. So it's good. Our pre-K's not yet. We don't have them in the system at this stage. It's more of a tick and flick on skills, but kindergarten certainly.
And
unfortunately,
is that done through like an interview process where the teacher asks the child, how do you feel like you do this? Or have they got questions where the teacher reads it out and they say, yes, I feel like I'm doing that, or no, I don't? How does that work?
We use Seesaw in prep. So it's a task that's put up in Seesaw with the similar questions. And rather than the, asking the questions in a quiz, we've got smiley face icons, and they put a smiley face icon and they've got a range of 5 as to how they look at it. that was an interesting process as well, because we use Seesaw down there. You can't get data out of Seesaw except by CSV, and it's like, "Argh." So I've actually pushed
And it's not
Canvas.
pretty.
No, I pushed Canvas down there as well. So they actually go and they'll mark in Seesaw and show all the feedback to the parents in Seesaw, but then they go into Canvas and do a tick and flick in a rubric just to get that outcome. So we still pull the data. They're a bit messy for them. They don't like me that much, but the other guys are okay.
Would you by chance be able to flip through an example of your Seesaw stuff? Because we've been rolling out that with the younger years as well here.
Yeah, no worries. I'll take a screenshot and show you what we.
I wouldn't mind a copy of that as well. We're implementing Seesaw at the lower levels as well.
Yeah, it's interesting.
If only Canvas had something like Seesaw.
Digital portfolio. Yeah. I'm actually going to push more of our assessment into Canvas for prep next year. Like all this checkpoint stuff, I want them to do it all, and that takes that step out of it, and just use the digital portfolio and feedback side, and which is the beauty of Seesaw. I'll just see if I can pull up something and show you. I'll drop it in the chat. Sorry.
Thanks.
No worries. So while you're doing that, we will obviously the next user group will be next term, and we do have our upcoming K-12 user group. So this is our K-6. Thanks, Jeremy. And yeah, our K-12 is coming up shortly. You would have seen it in the same newsletter that you would have got to register for this one. So feel free to come along to that. We've got different topics at that user group. So we funnily enough, we tend not to cross over too much on the topics between the two, which is really great. So we get to share lots of different things. But perhaps, Paul, maybe you could send that to us, and if you don't mind, we can just share it on the post that we put up on the community.
I can't find it in a hurry, but I certainly will. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And we'll put that up, and we'll also add the recording on the community page. We'll send that out in newsletter as usual, and you'll be able to share it abroad, share it with your teachers for them to get some ideas, because there's some really cool stuff. People don't know what they don't know quite often in Canvas. So feel free to share the recordings and the resources that we have. But thanks, everyone. Appreciate you coming along, and we'll catch you at the next one.
Thanks all.
Later.
Bye.
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 Bye.